Hello, YouTube. Do you guys have this going on anywhere else? Audio? You guys have podcast version of this?
Yeah, we got Apple, Spotify,
Hello, Apple.
Amazon,
Hello to Spotify. Hello,
everywhere.
Amazon. Wow, feels like an honor to be on Fluent and Chill. Wow, this is crazy. This is like Inception for me.
Welcome to the best show on YouTube.
Yeah, welcome to the best show on Player's Choice channel for sure. I am filling in, obviously, for host Haley today. She had something come up last second, so here I am, chat, in all my glory, and I'm here today with, of course, the main men Fluent in Chill Town. Fluent, how's your day so far? Anything weird go on today, or
Weird. Like outside of this, I want to say it was my kid's last day of school.
Nice.
So that was a big thing for them. I found out there's thousands of people who don't know anything about basketball but feel like they need to comment. I found that out today.
Nice. Chill. Anything going on with you?
Man. Hey, I was prepared for the free agency frenzy until KD threw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. I think that this was planned too, by the way, because he didn't just walk into the office or pick up the telephone and call up the owner and go, "Yo, I want to be traded." No, this was something that we discussed a couple of days ago. So this wasn't something he woke up today and just said that. No.
Facts or cap, chat? Is Chill getting into the conspiracy bag? All right. We could talk about whatever we want unless you guys want to get right into it, because it's chaos today. And chat, surely you've heard, unless, like I said last show or yesterday on Player's Choice, unless you live under a rock, KD wants out of Brooklyn. Chill, do you want to start, since it sounds like you're ready to get into the conspiracy theory bag, and I'm here for it.
Well, here's the thing that needs to be understood. Tone and I had this conversation a couple of days ago, and I said it when Kyrie Irving opted into his deal. This thing is not over. Everybody thought that when Kyrie Irving opted into his deal, this thing was over. Kyrie Irving says, "Well, I'll see you in the fall." And no, all he did when he opted into his deal was he not only gave himself leverage, he also gave the Brooklyn Nets leverage. So he can't just walk out the front door, unlike Danny Ainge allowed him to do, which I think was a part of his demise in Boston. So let's recap really quick. We have Kyrie Irving, who's played a total of 104 games in Brooklyn in the 3 years that he's been there. He's been very unreliable. He's been very unstable. He's been very problematic. And I think Sean Marks is over it. And that's why he went to management and decided, listen, we're not going to extend this guy. And in the process of them saying we're not going to extend this guy, if we're going to start over, if we're going to get rid of him, we got to find out if KD is on board with this. Well, turns out KD is not. KD isn't interested in starting over neither. And not only is KD not interested in starting over, he wants out today. Now, I'm not surprised from this at all, but I'll tell you what, this actually does work for Brooklyn. And Tone, you might think I'm nuts with this, because they do, even though we haven't seen him play in 16 months, they do have a franchise player. And
Are you crazy?
No, I'm not crazy. They do have a franchise player. Yes,
Who?
they do. And the franchise player that they have is the guy who always wanted to have his own team. And
Patty Mills?
And that would be Ben Simmons. He always wanted his own team. And this thing is working out to where
Ben Simmons a franchise player?
Tone, he was the #1 overall pick in the draft. Not only was the #1 overall pick in the draft, not only was he the #1 overall pick in the draft, we're talking about an all-league defender. We're talking about an all-NBA performer. We're talking about an all-star who's 1 year removed from a bad playoff series. Before that, he was an up-and-coming star. So all we're doing is we just thinking about
shoot.
Okay, well, he doesn't shoot because of what you just seen. But as I was saying, we're going to move off of Kyrie Irving. And not only we're going to move off of Kyrie Irving, we're going to move off of Kyrie Irving to get picks, maybe a player or two. And they're not just going to hand him over for a bucket of extra crispy and a six-pack. No, we're not doing that. We're going to get some picks, and we're going to get a player or two, maybe. What we're going to do is Kevin Durant's going to be the big fish. We're going to get all the picks we need. Kevin Durant, we're going to get at least 3 1s for him. And we're going to get some quality players. and we're going to build this thing around Ben Simmons. He's always wanted to be.
You're going to build a team.
Yikes.
Hold on. You're going to build a team around Ben Simmons, who is complete
waste management.
That's going to be your guy.
That's what
and
they're doing.
On top of that, you've just wasted 4 years of your franchise. You've watched Allen, Dinwiddie. Who am I forgetting? Who's the third guy that I really like? LeVert. And 5 first-round draft picks just walk right out the door, and your saving grace is building around Ben Simmons?
What? Because if you look at what they're doing right now, turns out Kyrie Irving is trying to get himself to Los Angeles, which, by the way, I don't think James wants anything to do with Kyrie Irving. I think he's over this. But the fact that Kyrie Irving is so adamant about that, considering the season that James just had with Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis getting hurt, I don't think he wants anything to do. I don't think he wants to be back in the Kyrie Irving business again.
So I can't say the person, but and sorry, JD, because you don't, but Jay, I speak with someone who's intimate with the Lakers. And Windhurst got it first. I'm not going to try and scoop him. He said it first, but I heard from that person that I speak to in the Lakers organization who said the same thing about that Windhurst said. They're trying, I don't know if it's going to happen, but there's interest in both sides to make a move, Kyrie and KD, to join LeBron in LA. Now, that obviously means they need to find someone for Russ. AD is part of that package. All their draft picks that they have are all part of that package. But I heard it from Windhurst, who has different sources than I do, and my one person that that I know, who said the exact same thing. So I don't know that LeBron's that far off of, hey, I don't want to play with Kyrie, because it might be, well, if I get Kyrie and KD.
Well, there's a difference. It's not just Kyrie. There's a difference if you add in KD to the story, which, to be quite honest with you, I think that this is going to be, if this were to happen, this may be worse than KD going to the Golden State Warriors. This may be something that people will completely frown upon with KD, and they're going to.
Will it hurt LeBron or KD more?
I think it's going to hurt. I think it's going to hurt KD even more. James is already set where he is, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think that this is going to hurt KD. Number one, the way he forced his way out of Brooklyn. That's number one.
Why does that surprise anybody?
Well, the reason why it does is because of him being the guy that he is now. Like, he goes to Brooklyn in an effort to win a championship, to prove everybody else wrong. All right, I'm going to prove everybody else wrong. I'm going to show that I can win this thing as me being the man. Well, turns out it doesn't
How'd that work out?
Yeah, turns out it doesn't work. Not only does it not work.
How did you superstar do as the man? Just
curious. I'm going to, well, here's the thing. That's a completely different conversation. But not only does it not work, but I'm going to go run back to playing with James. I'm going to go run back to playing with somebody like that. That looks really, it's going to look really bad for him. Now,
I think anywhere he goes looks bad. Unless the only I would have given him respect if he said, "Hey, I got here and I was injured. Kyrie had his issues. We tried to bring in James Harden. We screwed up this franchise." Like, people talk about James leaving a franchise and destroying it and leaving it with no draft picks and no players because of all the one-year vets. Dude blew up Brooklyn. And so I would have had respect for him if he said, you know what? Kyrie's going to run it back. We're going to give this one more shot. We're going to bring in some pieces. We don't know what Ben Simmons is going to be like, but Ben Simmons, Kyrie, and KD, that actually gives you some offense, obviously some defense. Hey, we're gonna give it a shot. I would have respected him much, 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 much more if he said, let's give it that just 1 year. I'm going to try for 1 year. And hey, if it doesn't work out again, fine, move on. The fact that he's like, you know what? They conspired to do this. Let's be honest. To your point, this wasn't just all of a sudden KD said, oh, you know what? On second thought, I'm out. No. He went out and said, Kyrie, go see if you can find a trade partner. No, that didn't work out. Okay, opt in. Now you're right. Now we have this leverage. Now let's just work our way out of it. And Sean Marks is so frustrated. He's like, you know what, guys? Forget it. I'm done too. I'd rather tank and blow this thing up and start over with Ben Simmons.
I know you hate to hear that, Tone, but I know it sounds. But if you look at that roster, KD is going to garner all the picks that they need, because they already got 2 picks from Philadelphia when they traded for Ben Simmons. And now KD's going to bring another 3 ones. You may be able to get a 1. You may be able to even get 2 ones for Irv, depending on who you get, right? Depending on who you deal with in terms of a team. But KD is the big fish because he's going to get all your ones back. Not only is he going to get all your ones back, he may be even able to get you some players in the process of that. Now,
not if he goes to the Lakers.
Well, because I don't see that.
They don't have any ones, and when they do have ones, they're not going to be good.
Well, since you're on the subject of that, Tone, when we talk about him going to the Lakers, what do the Lakers have that Brooklyn is interested in that they go, okay, I'll take that? Because before we go any, before you answer that, Tone,
they might look, okay, would you take, I can't believe it. Would you take AD, assuming they can prove that he's healthy, day-to-day Davis, one of their monks or one of their shooters that they have, none, and 2 firsts for KD?
Okay, well, first of all, Monk is off the books. Monk went to Sacramento.
Okay, well, the other guy, well, yeah, whoever, one of the
Monk went to Sacramento. We could start with Irv.
And he's not in Sacramento. I didn't see that today.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal with Sacramento. We could start with Irv. Brooklyn has already made it clear with Irv that a trade that doesn't involve Anthony Davis for Irv is not going to work. Okay, so if you're going to send Kyrie Irving to, even though the Los Angeles Lakers are not doing that. So let's just say for the sake of argument that they do that, where they trade Kyrie Irving to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. What do you have left to give Brooklyn for Kevin Durant? You have no ones.
Third team. You need a third team.
You do need a 3rd team and a 4th team and maybe even a 5th team. And you need a team with a lot of ones. And I can't see the Brooklyn.
Russ back to OKC for some.
I can't see the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Or the Los Angeles Lakers I can't see the Brooklyn Nets giving KD to the Los Angeles Lakers unless they get a package from another team like Oklahoma City that's got a bunch of ones, or the San Antonio Spurs who also have a bunch of ones, who is going to help them. I can't see that happening. I don't. So KD to the Lakers, I just don't see it working simply because the Lakers don't have enough, even if you got another team involved in it. They just don't.
Joe, what makes you think that Ben Simmons is going to lace him up next year with all this stuff going down? Maybe he wants to sit out another year.
Simply because he didn't lace him up this year. And I think that on some level, that competitive edge, add that to the fact, Jordan, is he did sign a 4-year deal. On some level, I'm going to have to start working. I can't just keep sitting over here. Eventually, I have to get back to work. And in the process of me getting back to work, I also got to show that this 4-year extension that they signed me to, I'm worth it. Now, remember, I know you guys saw what you saw last year, 16 months ago in the playoffs, where he completely went to pieces. A bunch of great players have gone to pieces in the playoffs. We all know that. And the fact that he hasn't played this year also puts a stain on that. However, previous to that, we were talking about an all-league performer. We're talking about an all-league defender. We're talking about an all-star who was looking really productive. Now, him going to Brooklyn, what they're losing their two best players. They don't have any. They do have one thing left, which is Ben Simmons. And the logic is we building it around Ben.
What can you get for Ben? Like, why not just get rid of everybody? Like, there's nothing that the thing about Ben Simmons is this. It's not, for me, it's not just 16 months ago he had a bad playoff series. I see a player who, hey, I think he can run a team. I think his defense is fantastic. But that's not a guy I want to build my franchise around, because I also seen an attitude and an arrogance, and not the good kind, because there's a good kind of arrogance. You know, you have to think you're the best to be successful, to be in the NBA. I get all that. But I think you could probably trade him too for more than what he would bring to you if he plays next season. And there's people who think, hey, we can get Ben Simmons. We could turn him around. Why take that chance after what you just went through, giving up everything for this failed experiment of Harden and Kyrie and KD that just, like, you should be fired as a GM and hiring Nash as the coach. I think every decision he made was wrong. If I was the owner of the Nets, he's fired. I'm getting rid of every player, every manager, every coach, everything. I'm starting from scratch.
That's essentially what they're doing, Tone. We're moving up. We're moving
my
off.
first pick isn't Ben Simmons then to start from scratch.
That's essentially what they're doing.
I'm gonna make a cake, and my first ingredient's gonna be salt. No, not gonna work.
That's essentially what they're doing, Tone. Because again, remember what Ben Simmons was before we saw him. And the word on the street is from reliable sources. Ben Simmons looks really good in workouts. Now I'll tell you what, I've seen him. I don't know if
you saw my video. I went and shot 1,000 threes today. I look really good.
Right. I've seen him in YouTube.
Play defense and run up and down the court.
I've seen him in YouTube videos shooting the long ball, and I've seen all of that good stuff. Okay, that looks great. None of that matters until he steps on the floor in an NBA game. I'm having a very difficult time believing that this dude is not going to play every game this season. I'm having a very difficult time with that. I think that he will be out there, and I think that his competitive sense will let us know that, yo, I got to get back out here and prove to these people that I can play at a high level like I was playing before. There's no way for me to believe that he is that, like he's washed, or that he is not mentally tough enough to handle this. Even though he had a mental breakdown, there's no way for me to believe that he won't be able to bounce back from this. He has to be able to.
All right, so let's take the Lakers off the table for a second. Maybe that's just a pipe dream. Listen, we still tied with Boston. We need to. Oh, you know what? You did ask me something special that happened today, and I forgot to mention. You probably see this little Jordan right here. Mrs. Fluent bought me a pair of retro 11s just because it was Thursday. So that was actually a very nice thing that happened today too.
Thank you.
Day one.
Anybody buy me some J's? FYI, if anybody's looking to gift me a size 13. If not the Lakers. One, do you think Kyrie and KD are packaged? Or do you think
no, there is no package here.
Realistically, then where do they go?
I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in this, and I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. Sean Marks is calling up Bob Myers in Golden State and saying, "Hey, how you doing, my man? I know what's going on in Golden State, and I know that you dudes are loving life right now. How about I know you're gonna sign Wiggins back. How about you sign Wiggins back? Hand over Wiseman. I'll send you KD. Send me a couple ones, and we got a deal.
KD back to the Warriors. Is that what you just said?
Once again, Bob Myers on line one. This is Sean Marks on line one. I got an idea. I know you're going to sign Wiggins. How about you send me Wiggins? How about you send me the kid Wiseman? Send me a couple of ones, and I'll send you KD back. We got a deal.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
You might be onto something.
I'm just making an observation. And here's the problem, though, okay? I will tell you this. The fact that the Golden State Warriors won it without KD, it's a stain on who he is. However, we can get the band back together. We can absolutely get the band back together. And not only can we get the band back together, we can stamp Draymond's proclamation that they're going to win the NBA championship 3 of the next 4 years. Because if you get KD back on that roster, who win an NBA championship, Tom?
Anybody but the Warriors.
No, well, that's not going to be the case. If we get KD back on that roster, that's what it's going to be. No question about
you
that.
don't think that it's going to be awkward? You don't think it's going to be awkward in the locker room if KD goes back to Golden State?
I think it's going to be super awkward. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be awkward, Joe.
Imagine Draymond's podcast, after a bad shooting night from KD.
What? No way. It's going to be super awkward.
Actually, watch
but for the drama of TV, absolutely. We love to see that. But we're talking about something realistic. Okay, let's take the Miami Heat off the table for a second. The Miami Heat, this isn't realistic. And the reason why this isn't realistic is because if you're calling up the Brooklyn Nets, if the Brooklyn Nets are calling you up, if Bam isn't part of the deal, there is no deal. Well, Bam can't be part of the deal because the NBA has what's called has a clause in the collective bargaining agreement that players cannot, who are on 5-year deals, can't be on the same team. So that would be Ben Simmons and that would be Bam Bam. So that's essentially what it is. It's like the Tuck rule. It's like, what the hell is this rule? Yes. So that is out. So the Miami Heat are out. So now that leaves the Phoenix Suns. They were talking about the Phoenix Suns. Well, any deal with the Phoenix Suns is going to have to involve Book. No matter who else you bring, it's going to have to involve Book. Well, that's off the table because the Phoenix Suns are talking about extending Book to the Supermax. Well, they ain't gonna extend Book and then send him to Phoenix for KD. That doesn't make sense.
Although, okay.
I have, but really quick, Chill, because we're talking about the Suns. I have heard potentially if Book because obviously you're going to want Booker if you're going to get rid of KD. But if the Suns are saying absolutely not, then they're going to be looking for Ayton, Bridges, and then I don't know from there, probably some picks, whatever.
Interesting you mention that because that's what I was getting to. Because this has sign and trade DeAndre Ayton written all over it. Sign and trade with DeAndre Ayton written all over it. Because again, the Brooklyn Nets for KD, this is going to be one of the biggest trade, not one of the biggest trades. It's going to be the biggest trade since, I think this, what is it called, Tone, with Jimmy Johnson, the great train robbery? It's going to be something like that. That's what KD is going to go for. He's going to go for something like 4 1s, 2 2s. Yeah, with Herschel, it's going to be something like he goes for 4 1s, 2 2s, and 2 players to be named later because Brooklyn is not just handing him over. So Miami is out. Phoenix may be an option simply because
I don't even believe he wants to go to Phoenix. I think he just said that because of the whole thing with Charles Barkley and driving a bus and, Chuck couldn't win a championship in Phoenix. I don't think he wants to go to Phoenix. What about his favorite team? Why can't he come north of the border and play for his favorite team?
Well, I'm glad you.
What about like Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, a couple of ones?
Mm-hmm.
I thought OG Anunoby was gone.
Well, no, they're talking about it, but no, he hasn't been. The trade rumor that I liked was actually OG to I think Portland for the 7, but it didn't happen.
And they also asked for Josh Hart, and Portland said no.
Oh yeah, Josh Hart. Yeah, they said no. But KD has said it's public. Toronto's his favorite team growing up. Vince Carter was his favorite player. He loves the city of Toronto because it's a great city. The fans are amazing, and he's also spoken very, very highly of Fred VanVleet. So that's like a Masai type of move, like he did with Kawhi. Like, hey, we have this rising star in Pascal, but he's not going to get us over the hump. Let's move him and others, right, to get in a superstar.
Well,
superstar.
Here's the difference with what Masai did in 19 with Leonard and as opposed to right now. Well, Pop wasn't giving Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers. In fact, the KD deal that Brooklyn is talking about, that's what Pop was doing with the Lakers. You want KD, you want Kawhi Leonard, I want 4 1s, I want Anthony Davis, because he was not interested in that. Well, the same thing is going on right now with Brooklyn. And I don't think Toronto has enough to at least, if they get Kevin Durant, to still be in contention. Because if they bring him in there, Brooklyn is going to want 3 of your ones. They're going to want Siakam. They may even want OG. And I don't know how competitive you guys are going to be with VanVleet and Kevin Durant and Boucher, who just signed an extension.
Hey, don't forget about Scotty Barnes.
And a rook, Scotty Barnes. He might even ask for Scotty Barnes.
Let me just to the chat.
I'm Toronto. I want to keep Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, you want to keep Scotty Barnes. But this guy, I don't know who this is saying, Fred VanVleet. Seriously, I didn't say it. KD said it. I don't like Fred VanVleet. Jay knows I've said Toronto needs to get rid of Fred VanVleet multiple times.
Wow.
Not me. And also,
Nasty.
just for the record, I was at that game, and we weren't cheering KD's injury. We were cheering we weren't happy that he got hurt. We were cheering just because, hey, whatever. And then once we realized he was hurt, we stopped.
You're cheering because you realize now you have a chance to win the game, or?
That's why they were cheering, Jordan. It wasn't because
it was nothing to do with that.
We're going to win the NBA championship.
Win an NBA championship. That's exactly because he walked in and knocked down 5 threes in 30 seconds, and now he's hurt. Oh, thank goodness.
As a result of him being hurt, so you were cheering that he's hurt. Is your foot hurt?
Nasty.
Great. Okay.
So
you didn't want him to be out for 2 years, just 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're yeah, go ahead, Jill.
I'm sorry. So Toronto, they would have to basically empty the books in order to get KD. And I don't think that they're willing to do that. Phoenix, I like the Ayton deal. They're going to have to involve either Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, or one of those two and a bunch of ones. I don't think Phoenix cares much about the ones as they do about their younger players, though, however, because I think that they want to stay competitive. With KD and Chris Paul and Book, I'm not sure how that thing would work, but we'll see. Toronto, we'll take out teams like Philadelphia, but there is one team that I am interested in that nobody's really talking about. How about we call up my good friend? How about we call up my good friend down in New Orleans, Mr. David Griffin, who used to be the GM with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now he's in New Orleans. How about you hand over? How about you hand over my man Herb Jones? How about you hand over BI? And how about you hand over 3 1s? And I'll give you KD.
So,
you want BI? Oh, I thought you were going to ask for Zion.
I'll ask for him too.
yeah. The worst it could say is no, Fluent.
Yeah, fair enough.
But at
Portland, because
minimum,
everybody's talking about Portland.
But at minimum, I'll ask for BI. I'll ask for Herb Jones, and I want 3 1s. Because I don't think that you're going to pay. I don't think that you're going to give me Zion. I'll ask for him.
Does KD have any kind of? Does he have any like no trade or any kind of say in this?
Not only does he not have a no trade tone, he also doesn't have a player option at the end of his contract. He's locked in for 4 years. So he's in and it's over. So wherever he goes, he's there. And now he already just demanded a trade. So wherever he's traded to, he's there. That's just the way that's going to work. So that's another.
Send him to the Shanghai Sharks.
That's another team that I'm thinking about when I think about the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the Portland Trailblazers, I keep hearing this from Dan.
I hear it too, but I don't know who they're giving up.
Well, that's the thing that I'm trying to make sense of when I look at the Portland Trailblazers. What do the Portland Trailblazers have on their roster that the Brooklyn Nets are going to go, I'll take that for Kevin Durant? I don't think that they have it. I love this kid, Anthony Simmons. This kid's sharp. I think he looks special from Kentucky. But the problem that I'm having is I don't know who he is yet. Just like I don't know who Cam Thomas is on a Brooklyn Nets bench, who led the SEC in scoring the year before he got to Brooklyn. So I'm not gonna have Cam Thomas on my bench, and I'm gonna get another kid who I don't know also on my bench as well. So I'm gonna bring in Anthony Simmons. I'm gonna get Sharp and 3 1s for Kevin Durant. That is highway. No, I don't think Brooklyn is doing that. Absolutely not. I don't think that they're doing that.
And yes, to King 90, looking at the Lakers roster, no, I am not happy, especially with Westbrook. Of course, he was going to opt in for his $47 million. Okay, so before we jump to Kyrie and other players.
I'm not finished with KD, and we do have a super chat on KD. So really quick, if you're on NBA Twitter, it's obviously been hilarious today, and every single representative or people who cover their local teams are all saying our team is looking to make a package deal for Kevin Durant.
29 teams are trading for Kevin Durant.
Every single team in the NBA is looking for a trade deal for Kevin Durant, so it's pretty funny. But Travis Lindsay didn't ask, but he said KD to Portland on a 1-year deal. And I know you just got finished with saying you don't even see how that works, but in our Players' Choice chat earlier today, someone brought up, I think it was, I forget who it was now. I want to say it was Ron or Dub. Asked, do you think that Portland could win an NBA Finals with Damian Lillard? It doesn't matter who else is on the team. You have Damian Lillard and KD leading the charge. Do you think that team, obviously, it depends on who's around them, but you're probably going to have similar to what they have around them now. Do you think that they could make the NBA Finals?
No, I don't. No.
What's the difference between, other than he plays, Kyrie and KD versus Dame and KD?
Right, and I guess that's where you have to just look at the team composition and decide, is it any different?
We're never getting off that, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. Hey, if everyone's going to keep bringing it up, I'm going to keep bringing it up too.
Right.
No, because before we end it, I do want to talk about what this means to his legacy now, switching teams again. But no, I don't think. Look, it will depend on what else is around them. Dame and KD are not enough, I don't think, to come out of the West. So it will strongly depend on what they have around them. They're going to need, because it's the same thing that happened in Brooklyn. Right? They didn't have rebounding. They didn't have dirty work guys. They didn't have those role players to do all the stuff that, listen, for as great as KD is as a scorer and a shooter, he doesn't do anything else great. Sorry to break your hearts. He doesn't. People say, oh, he's a great ball handler for a 7-footer. Well, great. That's not great. It's great for a 7-footer. He doesn't do dirty work. He's not that. And you don't want him diving for a ball, right? You don't want him being the tough guy and rebound. Like, that's not what you want from him. You want him to do what he does best, which is shoot and score. Dame, same thing. He's not doing dirty work. You don't want him doing your dirty work. You want him being your point guard and leading your team. So that's why I say, what's the difference between Dame and Kyrie, other than Dame plays, will play more games, and so it's, I don't want to say it's a wash, but it's just when you say it doesn't matter who's around him, it absolutely matters who's around him.
Well, it depends a lot on who's around him. But when I think about Damian Lillard, he's more reliable, he's more durable. I personally think he's a better player than Kyrie Irving. And the reason why,
I agree with you, but I'm not like, those two just aren't enough.
Right. And when I look at this Portland team, I don't think Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Jeremy Grant are pushing them over the top. I don't think that that's happening. I think that they would be good, but I just don't. I think that Brooklyn looks at Portland and thinks that we could do better than Anthony Simons, Sharp, and 3-1s for Kevin Durant. We could do better than that. Now, remember too that when you're talking about superstar players like Kevin Durant, you're not going to get back equal value whenever you're moving off of these guys. So unless you trading Kevin Durant for Giannis or you trading Kevin Durant for James, you're not going to get equal value. So where does the win lie for you? Well, the win lies for me in number one of these players turning out to be great later on, and also in the draft picks.
Right.
So you take the Los Angeles Lakers for an example. When they traded Shaq to Miami, well, they ended up with Caron Butler, Brian Grant, and Lamar Odom. Well, Lamar Odom was instrumental on that Laker team winning championships in back-to-back seasons. He was huge for them. And they also ended up with a first-round pick from the Miami Heat, which turned out to be Jordan Farmar, who was also instrumental in what they were doing. He wasn't great, but he was instrumental in what they were doing. So they didn't get hosed. The plan here is not to get hosed when you get off of Kevin Durant. I got to get something back that I'm going to be able to build on in the future. Because remember now, we're losing Kyrie Irving and we're losing KD. So essentially, we starting over. Now, I said before, I think that they starting over with Ben Simmons. I think that that's their plan because there is no other explanation for me to think that they're going to get another franchise player like that.
Hey, listen, I know the idea isn't to get hosed on a trade, but let's be honest. Almost every single time there's a winner and a loser, and you almost never get fair value back for a superstar.
You don't.
Right? Like if you can give me 5 superstars that have been traded for fair value, like other than there might be one that I can't think of. I don't know. But I think for the most part, it's never, you never get, because you're getting pieces back. You're not doing, you're not doing, I'm trying to think I'm trying to think who's an equivalent player. You're not doing,
like I said, you're not doing KD for Giannis. You're not doing KD.
Top
Top
5.
Right. You're not doing KD for Joker. You're not doing KD for
Luka, KD, right? And like 2-3 players and 2-3 picks. Yeah, for sure.
You're not doing that.
Right.
So otherwise, I got to get picks, and I'm hoping that these picks turn out to be, and not just picks, complementary players. And I hope that these complementary players are instrumental in us winning. Otherwise, it was for nothing.
All right, the super chats are flooding in, and hey, if you're a regular, shout out to everybody who's tuned in live on the YouTube right now. If you're a regular, you already know the deal. But if you're just tuning in for the first time, maybe on Fluent and Chill or just the Player's Choice channel overall, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, get the likes up, and of course, anytime someone sends a super chat, we're going to get to those as soon as we possibly can. So if you send a super chat and we don't get to it right away, we're just finishing up on the current topic that we're on, I promise, and we are going to get to your super chats. So Travis Lindsay, he sent another super chat, said KD to Utah for Donovan in a few ones.
KD to Utah for Donovan Mitchell in a few ones. And Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons on the floor at the same time. Well, I'll tell you what.
That's actually not bad.
It's not. Because one
guy doesn't know how to stop shooting, the other guy doesn't know how to start shooting.
Well, not only that,
perfect.
Well, not only that, Tone, but you also got your defender in Ben Simmons, and you got Donnie who can play off the ball. I'm not a big Donovan Mitchell fan in terms of him being a volume shooter, but that may be able to work in the backcourt because I think that he would be able to alleviate any mismatches that Donovan Mitchell has. So if Donovan Mitchell wouldn't have to deal with Bradley Beal. That's Ben Simmons dealing with him. Donovan Mitchell wouldn't have to deal with Jaylen Brown. That's Ben Simmons going to have to deal with him. So any of these guys or Marcus Smart, Ben Simmons can move over to anybody defensively that Donovan Mitchell is having trouble with. And he could continue to score. So I don't think that that's terrible.
No, I actually think that's one backcourt that actually makes sense because it each covers up the other one's weakness. Right? Donovan Mitchell doesn't really like defense. Ben Simmons plays really good defense. Ben Simmons doesn't like to shoot. Book almost to a fault, or not Book. Mitchell almost to a fault likes to shoot. What about? So I'm seeing that it's official. Jalen Brunson, 4-year, $104 million to the Knicks. What about R.J. Barrett and Randall to Brooklyn? Keep it in state for KD.
Well, let's get to the bottom of this.
KD to the Knicks. The Knicks get KD.
Let's get to the bottom of this whole KD to the Knicks thing. Okay, so KD spurs the Knicks to go play in Brooklyn. So he told the Knicks no in free agency. So we'll start there. He told the Knicks no in free agency. He goes to Brooklyn, and that thing is a disaster. And what Marks is going to do is Marks is going to send KD to New York. No, he's going to send him to the Knicks. And he's going to send him to the Knicks for what exactly? He's going to send him for RJ Barrett, who I already told you, Tone, on draft night. I'm trading everybody. Anybody that you're looking for, except RJ Barrett. He's my franchise player. I'm building this thing around him. I'm not interested in anything outside of RJ Barrett. He's the guy that I'm building this thing around. So if you want Julius Randle, you want Mitchell Robinson, who's a free agent, but you want Quigley, you want any of these guys that you're interested in, knock yourselves out. Now remember, when we talk about Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks, remember, Tone, he signed a deal with the Knicks. The Dallas Mavericks can match that. They don't have to just let him walk out the front door. He's not an unrestricted free agent.
Don't match it.
Yeah, they don't have to
match it.
Brunson?
Yeah,
he's gone.
Brunson.
No, he's gone. They already said they're not even going to meet with him.
They're not matching it. Yeah.
He's
so
gone.
he's out.
He's gone.
We got the Mavs.
He's gone.
Okay. Stand down there, so he knows.
He's gone.
So he's out. Okay.
He's out. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Because you brought up RJ Barrett. I didn't know that you were so high on RJ Barrett. So I said 2 episodes ago, I said next year, I predicted that, and I think it was the episode you were on, Fluent. RJ Barrett. Yeah. Yes, RJ Barrett. I see him next season as a all-star reserve guy. That's where I see his level of play next year. This is next season. Every season.
Since his rookie year, he's improved every season. And I think the Knicks, I think that they got themselves in a bit of a jam when they brought in Randall, because Randall is a B player who had an A year.
Right.
And now what happened was he was basically pushed to the forefront, and that kind of slowed down what they were doing with RJ. When in reality, they should have been building around him from the beginning, because I do think that he's an all-star player who potentially can be an all-NBA performer. I think he's a franchise player, and we're building it around him. Okay. He's gotten better. He's gotten better every season, 6'6", 6'7". I think his jump shot's gotten better. I think he's going to improve defensively. His decision-making has gotten better. Absolutely. I said this to you already, Tone, before we even came on here, that on draft night, if I'm the Knicks, everybody's on the table except RJ Barrett. He's my franchise player, and I'm building it around him.
Do you think that he can play all-star level next season?
I do think that he can be think that he can be at an all-star level next season, because when I look at the Knicks and I look at what he brings to them, right, I think that they're going to be better. I'm surprised that the Knicks passed on this kid, Mark Williams, from Duke. I think that they would have been so much better with him. But when I think about RJ Barrett, again, he's improved every year. And not only has he improved every year, there's no reason for me to think that he won't improve next season, because that offense is going to be more tailored around him. So when I look at his game and I look at what he brings, and I look at the Eastern Conference, so Bradley Beal, when you talk about the guards in the Eastern Conference, Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie Irving's going to be gone. Jimmy Butler plays forward. Trae Young. Let's see. Darius Garland. Let's see.
Harden was an all-star.
James Harden was an all-star, and I think that goes the other way. And I think that next season, I think that RJ Barrett takes a step forward, and I think that he could be an all-star reserve. Because I don't think
that's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said to JD on 2 episodes ago. Was I went through who the guards were who were all-stars this year, and I said, well, one's going to be, in the West.
Mm-hmm.
The other, Harden's going to be out, so there is a slot for him to come in. I will let Rowan know that you are very high on his son.
And I think he could be in contention with Fred VanVleet for one of those all-star.
Oh yeah, that was the other one. I said he could. Yeah, he could definitely surpass.
I dig RJ Barrett, no doubt about that. I dig him.
Fire. I'm so sorry. I always butcher this name, and I love this name. Malinv and Ray Fu sent a super chat. What about Porter, Gordon, 2022 first round, and 3 first-round picks?
Porter, Gordon.
Oh, to Denver? That's I don't think that's
No,
enough.
we can do better than that. We can do better than that.
Like
Aaron Gordon is
Denver would love it. Jokic would love it. But
Jokic would absolutely love with him, with Murray.
Jokic might average like 25 assists a game.
That would be disgusting.
Him and MPJ, but the problem that we have though is with Joker on the unit, Jokic just signed his extension. They just extended.
Murray would have to be in that package too, I think.
He would absolutely have to be in that package. And when I think about a guy like Gordon, I thought Gordon was going to be much better than what he is. I was looking at an 18 to 19 and 10 guy. He turned out to be a 14 and 7 guy because he doesn't look like a guy who worked on his game as much as I thought he would. I thought that he would improve.
When you looked at him, you didn't see like Blake Griffin?
That's what I saw.
Well, let's just say he was Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin was 22 and 10. Not only was he 22 and 10, Blake Griffin.
Poor man's Blake Griffin.
I think he finished 3rd in the MVP votes in 2013. So hold
up. But let me say this. If Aaron Gordon, instead of being stuck in Orlando, was in Lob City with Chris Paul, maybe he is a 22 and 10 guy.
No, Tone, I'm not buying that. See, this is the kind of logic that's letting these guys off the hook when these guys don't improve. When you say stuff like that, you're basically saying, I'm on a bad team, so it's okay for me not to get better. We saw no improvement from Aaron Gordon in all the years that he was down there. He was 14, 15 a game, and that's not enough for a guy who's a lottery pick who's considered to be a franchise player, and he wasn't. And because he wasn't, I'm very disappointed in the fact that he didn't improve. So when I think about him and I think about a deal for KD, no, because I think that we've seen the best of Aaron Gordon. I don't think we're going to get any more from him. I'm good.
It's about damn time. Sent a super chat. Said, if I'm the GM of the Nets, I'm on the phone with the Pelicans. Give me CJ, BI, Herb Jones, and 3 number ones. I feel like that's almost exactly what Chill said. All right, Fluent. I know that you're chomping at the bit. Let's talk about it.
Kyrie. Why do I keep hearing Kyrie to Dallas?
Me too. Me too.
Like, is that what Luka needs in his life?
No, he does not need any more stress. He's looking like he's getting in better shape right now. He's looking like, hey, I'm gonna go kill it next.
Where's he playing right now? That I know he's playing for his country, but I don't know what the heck tournament he's playing. He looks good.
He looks good. You can see it in his face.
Kyrie, look, if I'm the NBA, I'm sorry, Kyrie. You're very talented. You're very skilled. You're phenomenal. Like, seriously. You're going to the Shanghai Sharks. I don't want the headache. I don't want to question your dedication. I don't need it. I don't know what it does to a locker room. I'm not in the locker room to tell you, but I'm telling you this. I know that Kawhi, for as great of a player as he is, there were half of the team saying the fact that he only plays when he wants to play and he gets his own private plane and, he's got 3 people who have to wipe his ass. And I don't like it. What do you think they're saying about Kyrie? If that's what they're saying about Kawhi, who just is like, I need a break. I can't play a full season. It's too much for me. Hold
on for a second, Jordan. Tone, you front runner, you got some nerve because when he was up there in Toronto and he played those 55 games and they won the NBA championship and there was a parade up there, you could care less about him complaining. You know what you wanted? In fact, you wanted to bring him back and sign him to a 3 or 4 year extension. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, because he's in Los Angeles and he's around,
Clippers said the same thing.
Because understand the difference. The difference is with Gallo and Pat Beverly and Reggie
said the same thing.
That unit that he was on, they were building something different, and they added Kawhi Leonard to that unit. But you, on the other hand, you got some nerve because the whole time when he was in Toronto, you were chomping at the bit, loving life. You had a parade up there. You're going to retire his jersey, and now he's a whining pansy who all of a sudden
I didn't say that.
He might have.
That's what they
all of a sudden Now he's in Los Angeles, and he's a guy who complains and he wants his way with everything. But a couple of years ago, we had a parade, and let's give this guy the keys to the city. Tone, you something else.
We gave him the damn keys to the city. We gave him free food at every restaurant. He should have stayed.
There you go. Now we talking. See, now we know what this is really about.
Fluent,
right? That's what we know what this is really about. Tone is a spurned lover who can't appreciate the fact that he just wanted to go home. It had nothing to do with
not only that. Not only did he leave my hometown where he won a championship and should have stayed and won another one, then he chose the damn paper clips over the Lakers. Like, give me a break. Yes, both my teams. You screwed both my teams.
I have the same. I
need some break to calm me down. Okay,
we share the same concerns with Kyrie. Here's the deal, though. If they could package Kyrie and KD over to the Mavericks, hey, all right, now I'll hear you out. But just Kyrie, I don't know. Don't love it. Dell was trying to say that he likes it and he thinks that would be good for the Mavericks, and I'm going to yell at him on Sunday for it. So, all right.
Well, no, I don't think you need a look. You need him to go to play. Kyrie, I want Kyrie with the ball in his hand. I really do.
Right, he would be the off guard there.
He's not gonna do that in Dallas.
Right.
You're not gonna move Luka off ball.
He wants to be the shooting guard, though. Kyrie.
Not only does he want to be the shooting guard, he's thrived in the shooting guard role.
And if
I want to be,
if he was reliable, if he was reliable, I'll take it. I'll take him at the two guard for sure.
That's the difference right there. That is what you just said, JD. That's the difference right there. Because in essence, Kyrie is exactly what Luka needs. Just the dude that I can go to for buckets.
1,000%.
I don't need you to defend. That's what I got Bullock for. That's what I got Finney Smith for. I just need to be able to 2, 3, 4 trips go to you for buckets when we don't have it going, or when I need a break and I can just take off a couple of plays offensively. Because that Dallas Maverick team is entirely built around Luka creating offense for everybody. So if I got a guy in Kyrie Irving who I can just go to for buckets, how much less difficult does that make life for me? That makes life much simpler for me, as opposed to I got to do everything for everybody. Now the stuff that comes with Kyrie, now that's something completely different.
Right.
Now I don't know that I don't know if that outweighs.
Where does he actually make sense then?
Where does Kyrie Irving?
Nowhere right now. Nowhere.
Like, is there a team that is so desperate that they will deal with whatever and bring Kyrie in? I would think any team in Florida, because they won't have any, if COVID comes back, they won't have any issues with that.
Right.
It's just crazy people in Florida anyways. No offense, Jay. But
I'm one of the crazy people. I'm part of that clan. I already got my crazy man badge. Yes, I do.
Like what team? Like, is it like Sacramento?
I was gonna say Sacramento. You said desperation.
Desperate. Is it Minnesota? Would they be like, hey, bring in Kyrie and give them D'Lo some picks and I don't know something, and let him be the crazy guy that works with Ant and Kate Cat? Maybe Minnesota might actually. Now, as I say it out loud, Minnesota.
Here's the problem that we have. The problem we have with playoff teams.
Bring D'Lo back to Brooklyn.
Well, a lot of these playoff teams that we have here, Tone, they're building something. So in Minnesota, we on to something with Cat and Anthony Edwards. We on to something with those two guys. Now, to bring Kyrie Irving in here, I'm not 100% confident that I want him around my kids. I'm not really confident in that because he may screw us up because we on our way to doing something. Add that to the fact that if I'm Brooklyn, I'm going to be able they might ask for Anthony Edwards in the process of handing over Kyrie Irving. Yeah, Minnesota's going to hang the phone up on him because we're not doing that. Absolutely. No. We're not doing that. So don't ask us for him because that's not going to happen. So when I think about teams like Washington, who don't have a lead guard, but the problem is Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal. Does that work? You got two guys that basically do the same thing. Neither of them defend.
He might have another Gilbert Arenas situation with the guns coming out. How about this one? We talked about. Everybody get up. All right. Did I we haven't talked about the Lakers, and that's the one place he wants to go. That's the place where I think he's wanted. Russell Westbrook goes where and Kyrie goes to the Lakers, and what does Brooklyn get? Because I think that's the one that's working the hardest. That's the one they're trying to make happen.
Russ goes to Brooklyn.
And Kyrie, and listen, if Kyrie, I don't know. It's a big if. I don't even believe it as I say it. If Kyrie really is what he says he is, which is, and let me just say, you said you wouldn't put him around kids, but I did a great interview with Flat Earth Dave, who's trying to convince me the Earth was flat, as you know, and he
did too. By the way, he did too. He did, by the way, convince you that the Earth is flat.
He did not convince me. I said he made some good points. He did. He made some good points.
Well, you would get along with Kyrie
on YouTube. I got along with him very well. He made some really good points.
You'd get along with Kyrie.
He loves Kyrie. Oh, he loves Kyrie.
Of course he does. He's endorsing his flat Earth theory.
It's not that crazy, but anyways, that's a story for another day. How do we get? So Kyrie says, "Hey, I've learned. I'd love to play with LeBron, right? I think he'd be good in LA. I think he would in LA, like the city. I don't mean on the Lakers. I mean in LA, he would fit right in. Everybody's heads are up in the clouds. So
I don't think James wants.
That's why I love living in LA. I think James, AD, a healthy AD, and Kyrie, isn't that a better fit than Russ? Is where I was going.
Let's rewind the clock, Tone.
But first, is it a better fit than Russ?
No, it's not. No, it is not. And here's the first problem with that. Number one, the other guy, he actually shows up to work. We'll start and so we could start and stop the conversation right there. He shows up to work. Kyrie Irving has proven over the years, I am going to do what I want, when I want, and how I want.
Sure.
I think that James is looking at this situation behind closed doors saying, I don't want nothing to do with this dude. After everything that I had to
pause. And James hasn't done what he wants, when he wants, how he wants his whole career.
And how's that turned out for him, by the way, Tone? Since you on that subject,
good.
Exactly. And since we're on the subject of Kyrie Irving, how's that turned out for him over the last 5 years since he left James? How's that going?
Exactly. He's learned he made a mistake.
And you think that I want to get involved with him again? No, I don't want to. I already absolutely, and I think I'm a firm believer that people deserve second.
After my first appearance on Players' Choice, I told Shaq and JD, "F you guys, I'm never talking to you guys again." I gave him a second chance. Look, it worked out really well. Now we get along.
But Tone, we're talking about a guy in James who first of all, I'm trying to hold on for another 2 more years so my boy can show up. And once my boy shows up, I'm going to be with him and then I'm gone.
Exactly.
This Kyrie Irving coming in.
Kyrie will be that gap guard until Bronny.
He's going to take years off of my life getting involved with Kyrie Irving. I've already been down that road before with him, and we didn't break up. We broke up abruptly. He found out about this.
Any LeBron hater, Kyrie, much like Ray Allen, gave him a title on a silver platter. He should be thanking those guys.
And Kyrie Irving had some of his best years.
Yeah,
absolutely. However, this Kyrie Irving has become very problematic over the last 5 years. And I'm too old to be in the fix-it business. I'm too old for that. You
have siblings, Jay?
I do. I got a younger brother. Yes, I do.
And if you had a parting of ways and your younger brother came to you and said, I made a mistake, bro. Let's do this. You're not going to go shoot some hoops with him?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go talk to my brother, but my brother has to show me that he's cleaned himself up. Kyrie Irving, not only has he not done that, he's in the same pattern that he was when we broke up. And now you want to get back together, and I'm in the process of I already got my own problems over here, and I got a multitude of them. I got a guy who can't show up to work because he's always sick or hurt. I got another guy who runs at 100 miles an hour, and I can't even talk to him because we ain't on the same page yet. Add that to the fact that our roster still has to get filled out. And you want me to drop all of that and get back involved with this guy? Oh, my God.
You leave Mr. Glass Davis out of this. Okay, so if not the Lakers, it's not the Mavs. Clearly not going to be Brooklyn. Where's he going? I'm starting to think I like my Minnesota idea pretty good. Indiana? Does it go to Indiana?
Well, Indiana and Orlando are the teams who can pay the most. If he opts out of his Indiana and Atlanta.
No, he's opted in. He's opted in.
He already opted in.
Yeah, but they have the money to take it.
After this last year, Indiana, Orlando, and Oklahoma City are teams that can pay the most. But
Because if you get like a Miles Turner and something, right? Because they need get that big, right? So then you got your 1 and your 5, and then you build up the middle.
I'm having a hard time with Indiana, with Kyrie Irving going to the Indiana Pacers and what they would have. I don't think that you're going to get. I don't think that as much as Marks is over Kyrie Irving, make sure we clear, Tone. He's not handing him over for a bucket of extra crispy and a Sprite. He's not doing that just because.
I disagree. I disagree. I think Sean Marks is so over Kyrie that as long as you can take that $36 million off my books, I will take a bucket of extra crispy because I just want him out of here.
You might be right.
I really think he just wants to get out of there.
Well, here's why I don't agree with that. And the reason why I don't agree with that, Tony, is because to your point, I've already screwed this thing up. So now in the process,
$36 million to not play again?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that I've already made all of these acquisitions. I got Kyrie Irving. I got Kevin Durant. I got Ben Simmons. I got Steve Nash. Well, these things haven't worked out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compound that by just letting Kyrie Irving walk out the front door for a Blimpie and a 6-pack of Sprite. I'm getting fired.
Well, Dangalang, my favorite name in the chat, says if it's McDonald's Sprite, he's taking that deal. I'm sorry.
It's not. It's what you call it. It's a Sprite from the racetrack gas station with all the fizz out of it. No,
it's not even Sprite. It's
flat.
That's what it is.
No name.
No,
generic version.
It's just lemon lime, fizzy bubbly.
That's all it is.
Lemon lime soda.
That's all it is. No, man. I'm getting fired.
I just listen. I think when you're over it, you just I think he just won. But here, I gotta go back to this. What has Mark's done that has worked? Because you mentioned, KD didn't work, Kyrie didn't work, this didn't work,
Dinwiddie.
But Steve Nash didn't work. What worked?
Well,
like, how does he still have a job? I guess is my question again.
This sounded like a good idea initially, Tone. Coming off of them winning the NBA championship. I'm sorry, coming off of them going to the NBA championship with KD, he's going to come back. He's going to be healthy. They're going to be super sharp. And don't forget, KD did get hurt this year. Before he got hurt, Brooklyn was at the top of the East. I thought that they were fool's gold. Don't get me wrong. Last year, Kyrie Irving gets hurt. If Kyrie Irving doesn't get hurt, we're having a different conversation about the Brooklyn Nets because they look like they're going to win the NBA championship the way that they were rolling. So this thing was working until
it didn't.
Until it didn't with guys like Kyrie Irving. And that's basically, but that's all it says, Tone. We put this thing together and it's working until it doesn't work anymore. So this thing was working.
I don't like that logic. It was working. It was working for half a season. Out of 4 years, it worked for half a season. That's not working. That's like, me and my wife, we fight every single day. But you know what? On our anniversary, things are cool. Valentine's Day, things are cool. Sorry, that's just not enough.
But you're still married and you don't completely hate her. So that's the difference, Tone.
Exactly.
That's the difference. That's the difference.
That's why you give them up for a bucket of extra crispy because you just want out. You're like, here, take the house,
you just want
take
to
the car, take the kids.
In peace.
Deuces.
Elite. Hey, chat, I don't know what we're doing here. What are we even doing here? Fluent or Chill are not going to talk for the next until we get the likes up to at least 70. There's 150 of you in here. What are we doing, chat? You're just going to have to listen to me for the rest of the show unless you want to get these likes up. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I would ask you guys about these Supermaxes, but you guys can't speak for a while, so I guess I'll just talk to myself. Jokic signs Supermax, $250 million. Beal signs Supermax, $250 million. Devin Booker, Chill already brought this up earlier in the show. Devin Booker they're reportedly finalizing his Supermax deal. So I just want to talk about these deals really quick. In my opinion, I don't think that there's any surprises here. I think that all three of those names, we've probably already foresaw that these Supermaxes were coming, but curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Fluent, you can speak now. We'll start with you. Do you disagree with any of these Supermaxes?
Yeah, I gave you one. I gave you trash when Bradley Beal Supermax.
Wow.
It's like a bullet in my head. Why would that guy? No. There's half the people in the NBA that have Supermaxes. Listen, I get it. Listen, if I was there and someone offered it to me, I'm taking it and I'm running to my bank. I get it. But if I look at where these guys are, half of these guys don't deserve max deals. At least, if not more of them don't. And I'm sorry, if the goal is to win, not to score points, not to be talented, not to have skill. If the goal is to win games, how does Bradley Beal help you win games?
Well, I think Bradley Beal.
What has he shown you thus far that he is a guy that you want to give super max money to lead your team?
Tony, he did average 30 a game twice.
That's great. He could average 40. Did he win?
Well, that's something. That's something completely different, Tony, because we're talking about a guy who, as one of the best two guards in the game, one of the best scorers in the game. That's his game. Now, what you put around him, that's going to be something different. Now, I'm not saying that. I understand why Bradley Beal signed, why he opted out. He opted out so he could sign this long-term deal. He's been in Washington.
More power to him.
Yeah, he's been in Washington since 2015, 2014. So he's been in Washington. He's been their franchise player. Now, I equate his situation the same as I equate with CJ. After him and John Wall, they lost to the Boston Celtics in 2017, and then John Wall got hurt. That's when it was time to move on from these dudes. That's when it was time to do something different, because that was all you're going to get with this group. And they decided that we're going to continue to build this thing around Bradley Beal. You saw what it is, and you see what it is to this day. I think they made the playoffs one time, and they got Russell Westbrook since then, and they were actually in the play-in, and then they lost to Philadelphia. So with that being said, we've seen what the Washington Wizards is doing. They're building it around Bradley Beal, and we've seen the success that they had. So that speaks for itself. I think that Denver got Joker. I think this is long overdue. They got him on the cheap on his last deal.
Oh, yeah. Joker, listen, he's a back-to-back MVP. Like, you're not, there's no one's going to complain about that. My thing is that I think as a franchise, as the Wizard, look, it didn't work, right? Yes, I know John Wall got hurt. Washington doesn't have the pieces around him. Just trade him. Start over. Bring in young guys, because super maxing him, now what? So we're just going to have one really good player who gets his numbers and we stink? That doesn't sit well with me. I'm sorry. I can't live with that.
Mm-hmm. And with as far as Book, we already see the writing on the wall with DeAndre Ayton being added there, because they paid Chris Paul, they paid Book, they paid Mikal Bridges. The only guy who didn't get paid was DeAndre Ayton. So
they feel there's 10 other guys in the league who can do what Ayton can do, and I don't disagree. You know how I feel about Ayton. So
Ayton,
I was really surprised.
That's
Ayton on Ayton.
That is nuts to me that you say that. So how many 23-year-olds are walking around in the NBA that are 18 and 12, 18 and 10, 17 and 11? How many of them are there? And not to mention Tom, the 23-year-old kid. We haven't even seen the best of him. But you just want to throw him away like he was. Yeah, I can find somebody else to do it. Really?
Phoenix has never paid their players. So when I saw them give the money to Paul, give the money to Book, give the money to Bridges, I feel like they saw something in Ayton. I don't know. Is it his work ethic? Is it him in practice? I feel they saw something that said, hey, because you get into this thing now where you're starting to pay people, and then him specific, you single him out and don't pay him.
Well, I think it's a fit more than anything, Tone. I don't think that it's him specifically as a player, because when I look at him, I love him with Cade. Him and Cade Cunningham look like they would be really good together to build that unit in Detroit around those two. I like those two together, but I don't think it's a good fit with him in Phoenix. And the reason why I don't think it's a good fit is because I look at how they play with him. Ayton's one of those guys who, when you go to him early, you get him to run more, you get him to rebound more, you get him to defend more. But when you don't go to him offensively, he puts his head down. He doesn't play as hard. He doesn't rim run as hard. He doesn't rebound as much. Now, when he's on a unit like Detroit, where Cade's going to look for him more, they're going to center that offense around him more, I think he'll be more productive. Only except when he was in Phoenix, as productive as he was, I think the times when he averaged over 20 a game, they were either a game or two under 500 or barely over 500.
So one of those. So what I got to do to get what I need out of Ayton is to give him a nice warm hug, give him some warm milk,
a little bit
on his belly, and tell him how great he is. Like, give me a break. I wouldn't sign him either then. If that's what I have to do, I have to get him the ball. No, No, play your damn role. Do what you're told. Like see all the stuff you said. That makes me turn off of him even more.
Adam,
So good for Phoenix.
Adam,
I just did this quiz on ESPN. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It says take the quiz and see which team you should be the GM for. And I did get Phoenix. So you know what? We're in agreement. There you go.
Adam Jones donated through the super chat. Sorry, this was about 15 minutes ago. So it was when we were talking about KD and or Kyrie. I forget. But he said, I know I'm late, but sometimes it takes a winning environment for some players to learn certain intangibles that would aid in their improvement. Thank you for the super chat, Adam Jones. I agree.
He's talking about what did we say? Who was the player? Aaron Gordon, I'm sure. Right. He came into a losing situation, and then you get comfortable losing. You get comfortable, like people. That's why I always said, like with Philadelphia as an example. That's why the process failed, right? I've said that a million times. Well, why? Because you brought all these guys into a losing situation where losing was okay because we are tanking to get better. Well, guess what? Now they get comfortable losing, and it's hard to learn how to win. Right, like Jay, you played, it's hard when you get into a losing environment. It's a lot harder to win after you've grown comfortable losing. I don't know if you ever lost, but so I just think it's a bad situation to bring people into. He goes to Orlando. Why do you think Sacramento is in this cycle now? Because everyone that goes there loses, and their confidence goes down, and they stink, and everyone's like, "Oh, they made the wrong pick." Did they though?
They did. Yes, they absolutely did. Always.
Every time.
Yes.
Like,
yes. That's that. You can't tell me what they're doing in Sacramento is at all.
Yeah, that might be the bad example, but but he goes to Orlando, and it's the same thing. It's just
you're gonna pass on.
Mars
Luka.
has Keegan Murray as Rookie of the Year, by the way, next season.
Passing on Luka's pretty stupid. Yeah,
pass on Luka for Marvin Bagley.
Well, you know what I said? I said this a couple episodes ago on Player Choice. I said all you have to do, you want to pick the Rookie of the Year, just pick the player that gets picked right after. Come here. The one that gets picked right after
the Kings.
Sacramento's pick. Come here.
Yeah. I don't know.
You gotta say hi to Uncle Jay and Uncle JD.
Hi there. How are you? How are you?
Come, Steph Curry fan. Who's the best player in the world?
Steph Curry.
All right, get out of here.
Mars has Keegan Murray as Rookie of the Year.
Hold on.
Season.
Wait. This is for Jay. Sorry. Who's the GOAT?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it's a boy.
Wow.
Got to start him young.
Might have to call CPS, Fluent. I don't know. Teaching him bad habits.
That's what it sounds like. I get somebody over.
We don't have that in Canada. We good.
Oh boy. Okay. Again,
don't worry. Their mom's upstairs telling them that Luka Doncic is the best, so you'll be happy with that.
Perfect. Well, we are at that hour mark. I don't know if you guys want to do some rapid fire questions from the chat.
Yeah, let's do overtime. Why not?
We're an OT chat. We're an OT. Hoops Hotel was saying that if Chris Paul took less money, this wouldn't be a problem. Talking about that Suns conversation. Make sure you put some questions in the chat.
Not only that, I'm 36 years old. How many more years do you think I got left? I'm trying to get as much money.
Right.
I'm trying to get as much money as I can on the way out the door because I'm
sure.
going.
It's not like James Harden. Like James Harden, obviously, we know James Harden has a bad work ethic, right? His skills have diminished. So he took less money to bring players into Philly. That makes sense. Chris Paul figures I'm just as good as I've ever been. Like, and he hasn't changed. It's the same Chris Paul, right? He plays, then he gets hurt, and then he's, and then they, underachieve, and then he gets mad, and they do it again the next year. It's the same thing. So it's the same Chris Paul. I'd take as much money as I can, too.
King on his way out, too.
King 90 asked, is LeBron leaving next year after his contract expires?
Now, Tone, I already told you this, Tone. LeBron James wrote the blueprint on what to do when a superstar does not sign an extension. When you do not sign an extension, you have to move him because he's going to walk and you are going to be left holding the bag. So
I'm surprised he didn't work his way out this season because that's his thing, right? 4 years.
We've seen this movie already, right? So James is in a contract year and he doesn't sign an extension. And if you're a team that's trying to win it, and he still had, go back to 2009. What do you think we could have got what do you think Cleveland could have got for LeBron James after winning the league MVP and winning 66 games the year before?
A bucket of extra crispy.
No, they could have got the entire KFC for him. Okay, they could have gotten not just that KFC, every KFC in the town they could have got for him.
can't
No
trade
question about
LeBron
that.
James. You
That's
can't trade.
it. See, this logic right here, Tone, is why teams go from making the playoffs to the bottom of the league. For that logic right there.
I would want. Listen, if you don't sign a contract extension, you're traded. Period. That's it. You're done. I don't care what your name is. However, that's not what they do. Like most teams, just they're killed by their own arrogance. They think we can convince him to stay. You know, if we make a big push in the summer and show him our plan, and he'll re-sign. And you know, especially Cleveland, especially Cleveland, they're just poorly run. They're like, well, you're from here. Why would you leave? Because I'm going to LA.
I think that I tell you what, Jay, if he were to re-sign with the Lakers, I think that there would be some assurance that him signing a 2-year deal where his boy.
No, I think he starts doing the 1-1-1s
until his son is drafted.
He's playing for two things. He's playing for two things, right? He's playing to pass Kareem, and on top of that, by the way, just so you know, he's also going to pass Kobe for most misses in a career. But he's playing to pass Kareem, and he's playing to play with his son. That's all he's playing for right now. Let's be honest.
And with that being said, for him to sign an extension with the Lakers, I think that there would be some assurances that, you know, maybe I can hang out for as long as I can until my boy shows up. And if I could get my boy to play with the Lakers while I'm here, that would make life so much easier for me. So that's not ridiculous to think that he would do that.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Keyshawn said,
sorry, these are rapid fire. We'll answer quicker, JD. Sorry, let's go.
Keyshawn said, Jaren Jackson undergoing surgery, out 4 to 6 months. Thoughts?
He'll be ready for the season.
So what does that take him? June, July.
So October,
Yeah,
November,
good. I think
December.
Because this injury will heal up. By the time this injury heals up by November, he'll be ready to go.
Don't worry, be happy. Asks, any chance KD stays with the Nets if they cannot get a match, or is it a done deal that he's gone? I'll answer that for you. He's gone.
Gone.
Dang jangalang. So what's going to happen with Miles Bridges? Hopefully the worst, to be honest.
Why would you say that?
Tone, you got to remember. Tone, understand.
Miles.
Sorry.
Tone, you got to remember something, Tone. Understand this, and of all the things, when you get that kind of stink doesn't come off. Yeah. Whenever you start attaching domestic violence to guys, now people start looking at them differently. So when you get that stuff going on, and on top of that, we in the day before free agency starts, that looks so much worse, because now you got a team that wants to invest into you long term. This is what you're doing. Oh my God.
I'm always surprised by two really dumb things that athletes do. One, like, and this is everybody, don't fucking hit a woman. Sorry that I cussed.
Don't hit anyone.
And two, like when they get DUIs, I'm like, you have how many $1 million? Hire a driver.
Or
like,
just
stop it.
Just call a ride share. No free ads.
Yeah. But anyways, I digress.
So Jez asked, do the Celtics need to sign another scorer because the Jays may not cut it with how the offense looks without them?
I think that they're good with what they have. I just think that they need to improve. I think that the fact that they had a new coach this year, and I think that he's seen it. I think that offense is going to revamp. I think that Jason Tatum, I think Jaylen Brown, they're going to come back better. I think this team's going to be right back in the middle of it next season. I think Milwaukee's the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, but I think that Boston's going to be right back in, and I don't think that they have to make any major changes.
Yeah, Boston's actually the simplest fix. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, Tatum, get a little bit more consistent. Mm-hmm. Jaylen Brown, take that next kind of step up, mm-hmm. and Williams, stay healthy. Whatever we need to do to get you healthy, and they're good. They might want to get a Horford. You might need another kind of younger version of that too, because he can't kind of bail you out like he did a little bit this year.
That random just broke some news from a Shams tweet. Drummond to the Chicago Bulls.
I like it. I do like that. Drummond to the Chicago Bulls. It's a dirty work guy that they need. It's a rebounder that they need. He's going to take a lot of pressure off Vooch. Vooch is a solid defender, but I think that Drummond, being the rebounder that he is, and Drummond can score, Drummond being the rebounder that he is and the rim runner that he is, I think that he's going to help Chicago out a lot. Yes.
I feel like that's the exact thing you said when he went to the Nets.
Right. When they got him at mid-season and Steve Nash was yanking him in and out of the lineup, as opposed to him playing as much as he should have been playing.
I think Drummond's type of play is becoming, you need it, but I don't think coaches know how to use him because they fall in love with like the small ball and the up and down, and they don't give him consistent minutes. Even if they're not a lot of minutes, I think he needs to be just in a regular rotation. I think Drummond gets all the things that Jay said he does, but I don't think they allow him to get in the flow of a game and do it. And I think that's, again, he's not a star player, but he's that one of those guys, like he said, that dirty work guy that you need to have a consistent role. And that's the thing that I think a lot of coaches do make a mistake with. You make a guy, you give him that role, and you just make that consistent, and they will play more consistent. I don't think Drummond, to the previous point, I don't think Nash did that with him last year. So yeah, it's a good move. That's what they need in Chicago.
I apologize if I butcher your name. I think it's Hatim. Asks what y'all think about KD trade to Denver, MPJ, Murray, 4 first-round picks.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that for Brooklyn. To get MPJ, Murray, and 4 ones, that absolutely works for Brooklyn.
No, absolutely. I think that one works for everybody.
I was gonna say I think that works for everyone as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, I think that's it for rapid fire questions. I think that's it for this episode of Fluent and Chill. Haley, thoughts out to you. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday for the next Fluent and Chill at 9 p.m. Eastern. And do you have some news, Fluent?
Yeah, of course. We have breaking news. It will be on. I don't know how we're going to get this for you, Jay. We're going to get it somehow on Jay's stuff. But if you go to my link, to my Jesus Christ, Twitter,
Instagram, TikTok.
Instagram. Yes, you'll see a link tree. The first thing on that link tree is Fluent and Chill merch, because you got to get your That's Not Ridiculous shirt.
What's the website? What's the website?
Support Chill. I don't know. I got to change it. Right now, it's going to be sports-fluent-media.shopify.com. It's some crazy thing. That's why I say just go to sports_fluent. Click the link. We're working on the URL. Jesus. Day one.
Elite. All right, chat. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday for Fluent and Chill. Until then, chill.
Take it light, but take it.